Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Müvment Boxing Podcast, where we bring you the latest and greatest in boxing news, the latest breakdowns and all the fights from the previous weekends and all that, just analysis of everything that's going on in the sport, biased, unfiltered, uncut, raw, you know what I'm saying, keeping it underground and thorough. With that said, let me go ahead and present my co-host for today. Normal panel as usual. We got Bo from the Truth and Facts About Boxing on. What's going on with you, brother?
I'm doing good, man.
All right, and we got 2K, the prodigy of boxing. What's going on with you, man?
What's good, Joe, man? Glad to be back on. I missed last week, so I got a whole lot of shit I got to talk for this week.
Okay, cool. That's what's up, man. We got a whole lot to talk about, too, man. We definitely want to give a shout-out to our two other co-hosts that can't be on the show tonight, Big Cool from Colossal Boxing Talk, So It's Your Man, and also Bernard from the Truth and Facts About Boxing. So we definitely holding it down for them today on the show. That said, y'all ready to dive into these topics?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get it in. We're going to start off with yesterday's UK matchup. Chris Eubank versus Arthur Abraham for the IBO Super, or defending his IBO Super Middleweight title. He won a unanimous decision, Christopher Eubank, that is. That said, let's go to a breakdown of the fight, man. Go ahead, TK.
Well, first of all, man, I just want to say that, we need to stop hyping these motherfucking fighters up, man. It's kind of funny that a lot of people, I'm telling my wife as we're watching this fight, and it's funny that a lot of people have seemed to forgot that Chris Eubank Jr. lost to Billy Ho. You know what I'm saying? There's only one Billy Ho out there. It's the one that consistently eats peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. The nigga stacks one peanut butter jelly sandwich on top of another one and eats it like a double-decker sandwich. That's the motherfucker that he already lost to. You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't had any good competition since losing to the peanut butter hand man, Billy Ho. You know what I'm saying? He has one actual fight where you could say, well, he beat a name guy. And that was his last fight in Arthur Abraham. But the problem here is that Arthur Abraham is about 3 years removed from being a top-level fighter. You see what I'm saying? I think Arthur Abraham lost his belt to Gilberto Ramirez in 2016, but this is the thing. Before he lost to him, he was looking bad against Robert Stieglitz. He didn't look good against Paul Smith. Paul Smith is a guy that gets second chances, second, third, fourth, fifth chances at a title more than, what's the cat's name, that cruiserweight, Emilio Ramirez. He gets more title shots than that motherfucker, loses them all. You know what I'm saying? Not really a top-tier contender by any stretch of the imagination. You know what I'm saying? The same guy that Andre Ward came off of a 2-3 year layoff with a fucked-up shoulder and beat the dust off of easily at 175. His first fight there as a professional. But Arthur Abraham struggled a little bit against him. You know what I'm saying? Martin Murray fight, he arguably lost. He probably should have lost his belt to him before getting thoroughly dusted by Gilberto Ramirez. So you get my point. He's already a fighter who's past his prime, well past his prime. He's 37 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's not really a guy that, a win against this guy for Chris Eubank Jr. ultimately says, well, he's an elite fighter. And that's what I heard in the post-fight by these commentators. Usually I love Box Nation. I always watch their telecast, for any fight. Even the American fights, I watch Box Nation. But sometimes they do get a little out of hand when they like to talk about their domestic fighters. And they're talking about at the end of this fight that Chris Eubank Jr. is an elite fighter. He's definitely one of the best fighters in the world. And it's like, he's not better than Willie Monroe. He's not better than David Lemieux. Okay? He's not better than Gilberto Ramirez. You know what I'm saying? He's not better than fucking, what's my man, Andre Durrell. Okay, I'm going to go to 168 right now. He's not better than Andre Durrell. He's not better than the fucking IBF champion. What's his name? I'm getting a brain fart right now. IBF champion from the UK at 168.
James DeGale.
Thank you, James DeGale. All right. He's not better than Badu Jack, who's at 175 now, but fuck it, I'll include his name in the pot. He would have got knocked out by Gennady Golovkin. He's already shown he's not better than Billy Ho. You know what I'm saying? All these fighters I'm mentioning, Jamal Charlo would beat him. All these fighters I'm mentioning, okay, majority of them are B-level. He's not better than any of those guys. He's actually on the same level, okay? And he actually showed it in this fight. Now, they tried to say that, I think one judge had it 120 to 108, which is 12 rounds to 0. I highly disagree with that scorecard. I gave Arthur Abraham 4 rounds in the fight. I had to go back and watch the fight. I caught the fight late. I think I watched the last 5 rounds. And within the last 5 rounds of the fight, I gave Arthur Abraham 2 of the last 5 rounds. You know what I'm saying? And then I found 2 more to give him when I rewatched the fight. So there's a lot of things that Chris Eubank Jr. does that he needs to improve on, man. I'll start with his positives. I do like his body work. I've always said he's a throwback fighter, the way that he kind of lunges into the body and he sticks to his opponent, kind of like white on rice while going to the body. I really do, and I like that about him. He also moved back in this fight, kind of did a little shoulder roll, worked behind the jab, whereas in previous fights, he would start working off from a hook and try to string combinations together that way, which would leave himself wide open, which is exactly why he was beaten by Billy Ho the way he was in that fight. But in this fight, he did more working behind the jab, working behind the shoulder roll, but he continues to leave himself wide open. You can see Chris Eubank Jr. squaring himself up in the middle of combinations, which leaves him wide open. Those the times where Arthur Abraham isn't shelling up and he was actually throwing his right hand. Whenever he threw his right hand, it's pretty much money. You know what I'm saying? That's because Chris Eubank Jr. would pretty much square himself up. One of the telling blows late in the fight was when Eubank was playing around and shit. He's sitting there stalking Arthur Abraham with his hands down and shit. Arthur Abraham unleashes a straight right hand, knocks sweat off this motherfucker. Then Eubank tries to come back real quick, throw a barrage of punches. It was a smart exchange by Eubank Jr. because I know the judges saw that, and they immediately forgot about the right hand that Arthur Abraham landed. But the problem is, if he's going up against a better, more elite fighter, a fighter who's smarter in the ring, he's going to get caught by those type of shots continuously and at will against that type of fighter. First fighter that comes to mind is Gilberto Ramirez. Ramirez will beat the shit out of Eubank Jr. It won't even be a contest. So, in essence, man, a lot of people are pumping up Chris Eubank Jr. as if he didn't lose to Billy Ho. But we really need to learn how to buckle down and analyze these fights and give a better educated analysis of this guy's style. And it'll show you that he's not as good as you want him to be. And I think a lot of guys between 160 and 168 will beat Chris Eubank Jr. with no problems.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Past Abraham would bully him and whoop his ass, honestly.
Yep.
Probably, I think, make him quit in the ring. That's just my opinion.
Yep.
But let me go ahead and pass it on to Bo. Before I do pass it on to Bo, I want to say with this win, this makes Christopher Eubank Jr. the third number 3 seed in the World Boxing Super Series coming up for the 168 division. So
right.
They were battling Nell for that, and he's now number 3 going into the tournament. Go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, you know what? Look, man, and I get what TK is saying, and I agree to him to this point right here. The problem with better analyzing, better being analyzing these fighters and everything like that is, the biggest problem with that, 2K, is you got guys that are passing the information on to the general public that don't know what the fuck they're watching themselves. When you got Dan Raphael and Steve Kim and that's your general source of analyzing some shit, that's some fucked up shit. Then when you got motherfuckers like Max Kellerman who have an agenda of analyzing some shit, that's some fucked up shit. So I hear exactly what you're saying. I mean, and I say this all the time. This is why I love, like, say what you want to say, like the YTBC and all of that, the social media sites like ours and everybody else's will give you that honest breakdown. You know what I'm saying? The problem is the mainstream media, which is what everybody feeds off of, I guess, getting that information. So they'll hear Chris Eubank Jr. fight Arthur Abrams. Oh, man, that's a good fight. That's a good fight. Arthur Abrams was in the Super 6. Yeah, look at the fucking date. Do the timeline, motherfucker. He was in the Super 6 how long ago? You know what I'm saying? I mean, even with Jürgen Bremer is 38 fucking years old. He came down from 175 into this bitch. Really? You want to tell me that? Like we talked about this. Don't get me wrong. I like the Super 6 tournament, but I'm not as excited about this as I am that Cruiserweight tournament because it's real dogs there. It ain't real dogs here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got a couple puppies and maybe one dog and a whole lot. Like, y'all got a whole lot of puppies in this motherfucker. Ain't no dogs in this bitch. And that's my problem. That's really my problem. You know, like you said, Gilberto Ramirez is not in it. Anthony Durrell's not in it. David Benavidez, who I think will shock a lot of them punk ass motherfuckers, is not in it.
Oh,
so ain't no dogs in this motherfucker.
Jesse Hart, Jesse Hart might beat this motherfucker, man. If they match up,
he might.
Game over.
He might.
Game over.
And he might. And I'm hoping he does. But that's what I mean. He's another. Ain't no dogs in this. So that's the only issue you have is the cats that are doing this. The analyze and breakdown. They don't know what they're looking at anyway. So it's not necessarily us doing a better job of it or doing it or breaking it down because we're doing our jobs. We're breaking it down. It's motherfuckers who are brainwashed by what mainstream media has already told them what they should be looking for instead of what really matters about boxing. But to your point about this right here, listen, I watched it because I knew we were going to talk about it, but I saw nothing different. I saw Chris Eubank Jr. that just happened to be fighting a guy who couldn't pull the trigger and was too old to where his reflex, like his mind wanted to do one thing, but his body do another. Right. He didn't knock this motherfucker out, so his power is his power is already questionable at 160. So his power is questionable at 168. Okay, he just really kind of overwhelmed it with punches. All right, he did some nice things like going to the body, but again, you did it against a dude that was only looking to land a shot. Anytime you got a guy, and I know we're going to talk about another fight, and this is what I tell everybody. If you put me where you make me choose between a dude that has some good technical skills and a guy that's only chance of winning is a punch, well, the guy with the technical skills is the motherfucker I'm going to go for all the time. I'm going to go for him all the time because the motherfucker who has a punch is waiting for that punch, meaning that he'll wait to the absolute very last round to land a punch, meaning that he might take such an ass whooping he might not be effective by the time he lands this fucking punch. Yep. And that's when I tell people that. So, punch like I get the term puncher's chance, but I'm not picking on puncher's chance. I'm picking on what I see in front of me, and what I saw in front of me was okay. I know Chris Eubanks. He's he's got very very good athletic. He's been over in the Mayweather camp gym learning that American style, so he had that going for him. He does throw a lot of punches. He does move around. But when he stepped up in competition that was equal to his, we saw him take an L, and that was Billy Hope. So, so this fight only more confirmed what I already knew, which was, listen, Arthur Abrams was past it. We all saw, like, if you haven't been hiding under a rock, you saw Arthur Abrams get the shit waxed out of him by fucking Gilberto Ramirez. So what makes me think, and I think Gilberto Ramirez is better than Chris Eubanks. So what makes me be so impressive about this shit? And that, I'm not impressed by him beating him. Now, if he'd have knocked him out, like I think we're going to get to Omar Figueroa, Royal Robert goes Guerrero. Now, if he'd have did that in 2 rounds, then I would have been impressed. I'm not impressed with you going 12 rounds with an old dog. You're a young dog going 12 rounds with an old dog? That just tells me either that old dog was better than you thought, or you as a young dog ain't as good as you think you are.
Yep. Essentially, man, definitely not everything that what they think he is over there. We definitely don't think he's as much as he's being hyped up to be. Y'all stop giving legitimacy to this IBO shit as well, man. I'm glad Bernard's not on the show to dispute me about this.
Well, you know what the IBO is? Let me tell you what the IBO is, right? Check this out. You got the WBC, the WBA, and the WBO and the IBF, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They all have the same daddy and the same mama. The IBO is that bastard child that daddy had outside of his wedding. That's the IBO, basically. The International Bastard Organization. The IBO is that bastard child that daddy had, but we all got the same mom and daddy, but you the bastard kid.
But y'all have noticed right. They have been trying to legitimize this damn belt over the last year or so. Yeah. And and I want to say ever since Gennady Golovkin, I actually won it honestly. They've been trying to really boost it up. and it's been getting more credibility for some reason.
Well, eventually it will become.
And that's ridiculous because we already got enough belts as it is, and we got this one slowly creeping into the show. Anyway, man, we're going to go ahead and get into our next topic, man. You guys pretty much said everything you could say as far as Eubank Jr. And Abraham. Just to throw that or finalize that topic, he'll be going against Avni Yildirim in his quarterfinal matchup in the tournament coming up. So we'll see what goes on with that. He's the undefeated fighter from Turkey, not well known. So a lot of UK fighters are European fighters in this tournament. So
I mean, you know what, man? I just want to say something real. I mean, BoxRec has Eubank Jr. listed as a 5-star fighter.
Oh wow!
What the?
Wow.
Hold on. Let me look at something else real quick. But they got Willie Monroe Jr. listed as a 4.5-star fighter. Are you fucking kidding me? You see what I'm saying? The hype is real, dog. Willie Monroe has fought much better competition than motherfucking Chris Eubank Jr. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, man, I could go all day on this bullshit, man. Let's move on. It don't make no sense.
All right, we're going to go into our next, well, I won't say a title fight, but it was, I guess it was for positioning in the WBC light heavyweight tournament they're having coming up for their next mandatory challenge to Edina Stevenson following the later Alvarez. We had Joe Smith Jr. Defending his WBC silver belt, and I don't know why I even said that, but against Sullivan Barrera. Man, Sullivan Barrera pulled out the UD, dominated pretty much. Let me go ahead and pass it on to 2K and give a breakdown of what we saw in this fight stylistically between the two fighters.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start off and say 98-91. That was my scorecard, which means I gave Joe Smith Jr. one fucking round, and that one round happened to be a 10-8 round because obviously Sullivan Barrera was hurt and knocked down that first round, right? But other than that, every round after that, from round 2 to round 10, was complete dominance by Sullivan Barrera. And what it was an excellent example of a fighter who started late in boxing, who's going up against a guy who had a very respectable amateur pedigree. The guy that started late in boxing did not have much of an amateur pedigree, if he had one at all. A guy that has a full-time job outside of boxing. A guy that just didn't learn the ins and outs of boxing at an early age like you're supposed to if you want to become very successful in this sport, if you want to be next level talent in this sport as a professional. It showed that in this fight. Now, Sullivan Barrera, I'm not going to take anything away from this guy, but there were things that Joe Smith Jr. could have exploited if he was able to have that amateur pedigree under his belt and that experience from a young age of honing his abilities to be a professional boxer of today. If he had that experience, he would have been able to beat Sullivan Barrera. One thing was this. First of all, Barrera's chin is very, 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 very questionable. He was knocked down by Andre Ward. He was knocked down by Vyacheslav Shabransky. He was knocked down by Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith Jr. has excellent power, right? But those other two guys, not so much, especially Andre Ward. And by the way, he was legitimately hurt each time he was knocked down. None of them were flash knockdowns. So he has a questionable chin. Also, Sullivan Barrera likes to leave himself wide open. He doesn't have great footwork. Moves forward, he moves back. Doesn't have great head movement. Gets a little wild with his hooks, especially when he has you hurt. Perfect example, Joe Smith Jr. would throw a Hail Mary punch in the midst of getting hurt, right? While he was hurt, let me say this, while he was hurt, Sullivan Barrera is going in for the kill. He'd throw a Hail Mary punch, land on Sullivan Barrera, then Barrera would have to back up. because he had just got hurt. That shit happened about 4 or 5 times in this fight. Now, what you do with that is you learn how to punch with the puncher, meaning you get inside of his shots. Sullivan Barrera was killing him with the fucking counter right hand. So if he's killing you with the counter right hand, then that means you feint and you move inside of his straight punch. But he couldn't do that. He stayed on the outside. He kept moving back. He kept bouncing. He'd get inside, throw a punch, maybe get hit, then back up and start trying to fight from the outside again. Then his corner, oh my God, I was telling my wife, I was like, yo, they pay these niggas, dog. They pay these motherfuckers. His corner had no idea how to tell his fighter how to adjust to the counter-punching style of Sullivan Barrera. Had no fucking idea. The only thing I kept hearing was, you got to knock this motherfucker out. You got to knock him out. This nigga literally said, throw your hooks and your punches, your power punches. You got to knock him out. What kind of fucking advice is that? Your man is in there getting countered left and fucking right. If he moves left, counter. Moves right, counter. Moves in, counter. Moves back, counter. What the fuck are you telling your man? Go in there and knock him out? Yeah, motherfuckers, easier said than done. Give him some fucking advice on how to defend himself from the counter punch. I just told him what to do right now. I'm not a motherfucking highly paid trainer. I'm not getting no fucking money. But I was able to say what he's supposed to do, and this jackass in his motherfucking corner couldn't even do that. Get this nigga the fuck out of here. If Joe Smith Jr. wants to continue fighting, the first thing you do is get that bum-ass trainer out your fucking corner. I don't give a fuck who he is. He don't know shit about boxing. At least in that fight, he didn't. Okay? I don't give a fuck about Joe Smith Jr. beating Andres Fanfare in the first round, and I don't give a fuck about Joe Smith Jr. knocking Bernard Hopkins out of the fucking ring. That trainer didn't know shit about boxing against Sullivan Barrera, so he needs to get him the fuck out of there. All right? So, I mean, the trainer himself, and then Joe Smith Jr.'s inexperience to be able to make a plan B and adjust, which comes from, like I said, honing your skills early on. That was the tell in this fight. And Barrera moves on to talking about a Sergey Kovalev matchup. I like that fight. Although, I'm scared for Barrera's chin. I might not be able to hold up against one of them straight right hands by Sergey Kovalev, which is a punch that Barrera is susceptible to. So we'll see, man.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Bose. He's actually close, has a little bit of affiliation with Sullivan Barrera in this camp down there in Miami. What can you tell us as far as their thoughts on this fight and, did everything go as planned, basically? Let me get your opinion on that and your thoughts on the fight as well, man.
I actually had a chance to talk to Sully this morning, as a matter of fact. He hit me up this morning. And, he was just happy that he was able to get the victory. His father was actually there at the fight, and he hadn't seen his dad in some years, so he's motivated by that. To 2K's point, it's not his chin, man. Sully get hits on the temple, and every fight, it's something about when he get hit on the top of his head around that temple area that disconnects his leg. And you're right, he was visibly hurt against Ward, he was visibly hurt against Bransky, he was visibly hurt against Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith Jr. supposedly had his jaw got broken in the first round. It might have been when Barrera hit him with that uppercut, because if you watch it in slow motion, his head goes up, and you can see his mouthpiece kind of wobbles in his mouth. And that's probably where he got his jaw broken. And that might have discouraged him a little bit. But, I mean, you can't say it no better than how 2K said it. And again, I told everybody, I say it again. I'm not picking Joe Smith, because up until the part where he knocked Bernard Hopkins out, Bernard Hopkins was still outboxing him. He was, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was still kind of outboxing him up until that part. Up until the part where he knocked some fighter out. From fighter hurt him at first. And from fighter did the cardinal sin in boxing, when you got hurt, he stood right in front of him. And Joe Smith just launched the punch out. Now, I give Barrera this. He gets knocked down, he gets back up, and for some reason, them knockdowns seem to get him going, and he gets back on point. on what he should do. He did make some mistakes. Like, for example, he was initiating contact instead of because not, especially when he was the guy in the lead. It's like, okay, you're initiating the contact. Just keep pumping your jab, make this guy come to you, because clearly you're the superior boxer. Clearly, you're the guy that knows the better angles and was the better countering, and he had no answer for it. So don't try to attack him and leave yourself open, because, you're not the quickest defensive-minded person, so don't attack him and leave yourself open, which is like the 2K point. There was a few other times where, he did have him hurt because Barrera would attack him and was leaving himself open. But I was watching this fight, and like 2K said, I heard the corner telling him, knock him out. And I'm like, okay, good strategy. How? Tell that motherfucker how to knock him out. Exactly. Tell that motherfucker how to knock him out. Tell that motherfucker, listen, give him a hard jab in advance, give him a hard jab and, and throw a right hand, or do a feint to the body and come over the top. Make him go on the back foot, because the guy can't fight on the back foot. Get him up against the ropes because he don't know how to spin off of the fucking ropes. Get him on the ropes because he don't know how to spin off the ropes. He don't know how to get off the ropes. If he go to grab you, put your hands together and push him back, and give him an up punch, uppercut. They didn't tell him none of that shit. Like, they didn't tell him nothing on what to do to knock the guy out. You just telling the motherfucker to knock. That's like telling the motherfucker, hit a home run. No, look for the fastball. Look for the curveball. And swing for the fence. You don't just tell a motherfucker to, so, 2K point was right. Sullivan Barrera had a corner, but they was telling him that because that was a corner that had went into this fight knowing that all they really had was a puncher's chin. They knew that he wasn't the more superior fighter. But see, they knew he wasn't the more technically skilled fighter. And it makes me question, what did you work on in training camp? Go ahead, 2K.
But see, I don't believe Joe Smith Jr. only had a puncher's chance, because Sullivan Barrera has a lot of flaws in his offensive attack that allows fighters to actually gain the advantage on him if they just do shit right. You see what I'm saying? Like like I said, it's easy work to feint a guy like Sullivan Barrera, who has no fucking head movement, none. Feint him and move on the inside with a lead punch. It's very simple to do that to him. Andre Ward was killing this nigga with that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Andre Ward.
But look what we talking about, though. Andre Ward.
But
Joe Smith don't know how to do that.
No. But that is a basic aspect of boxing. Yes, it's Andre Ward, but that is a basic aspect of boxing, Bo. That nigga, I can go outside right now and go feint a nigga. You see what I'm saying? That's not something that you got to be elite to know how to do. No, you just got to do it.
but it is something you have to have somewhat of an amateur pedigree to know how to do that, and that's not something that Joe Smith had.
I don't think you need an amateur pedigree to learn how to feint. That's not something that can be taught within a training camp. Learning how to feint effectively. I think more so. And
I said that right. That's what I said. It makes me wonder, what did they work on in training camp?
Right. Well, we've already said his trainer sucks. They didn't work on nothing. His trainer sucks.
Yeah, and I agree. No, I agree with you. Like there are certain things you will learn in the gym, and then there are certain things you'll learn by having a extensive amateur pedigree, because you'll see, like, having an amateur pedigree, you'll see different styles that you can adjust to. But training in the gym is where you will learn things like the feint and those things that you were saying. And that's what training camp. And then what kind of training camp did you have? Because if this motherfucker was working his job and y'all had a training camp and this was a big fight, this could have been the biggest setback for him.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate, because of course all of those who don't like Joe and the story of him and the way he's being pushed will say, oh, he got exposed, average Joe. And I tell people, no, it ain't about him being average. He went up against a fighter that was just a little bit more technical and experienced than him. That's really all it was. And then, like you said, looking at his training camp, it makes you wonder, like, okay, you went into this fight with two handicaps, no experience, and a corner that didn't know what the fuck to tell you, because they bought into your power. They solely bought into your power. So I mean, good fight for him. Him fighting Kovalev, I definitely agree with 2K. It would be a good fight, but it would be a hard one for him because, you know, Kovalev definitely, like against somebody like Sullivan Barrera, letting his hands go, as opposed to Andre Ward. So, you know, good win for him. We know he wants Adonis, and because that's the reason why he went that WBC route. So we know he wants Adonis, and you know, we're gonna see how it plays out. But I'll be honest with you, Kovalev or Adonis would be a problem for him because now they have that that serious game-changing power that he may not be able to get back up from.
Yeah, and I actually think he'd be a little bit more tentative against both of those guys as far as, you know, what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? I think he'd be a little hesitant to I think
Adonis is an excellent fight for him. I agree with that. That's probably the fight he should be looking to get. Fuck HBO's Kovalev talks. Try to get that Stevenson fight. But for the record, Bo, I actually agree with people's assessment saying that Joe is the average Joe. And the reason why I agree with that is because Barrera, while he is, I'm not taking anything away from Barrera. I've always said that Sullivan Barrera was an excellent fighter, even when he knocked out Jeff Lacey. And, you know, Jeff Lacey thought it was his twin brother that knocked him out. You know what I'm saying? I always thought he was a good fighter. But he does not possess the Cuban pedigree that we're used to seeing. He doesn't exert it in the ring as well as other Cubans, even guys bigger than him, like a Luis Ortiz. He still doesn't do it as well as other Cuban fighters that have come before and or after him. You see what I'm saying? So there's still things that he does that a good boxer like Gavadzik could actually exploit if he were to fight Sullivan Barrera. And that's what I'm saying. Joe Smith Jr. just showed that he is a guy that relies on his power, which makes him the average fighter if you're a guy that only relies on your power. So there's no way in hell a guy like Sullivan Barrera should have beaten a guy who's not average, right? A guy that we perceive to be better than average. Sullivan Barrera cannot beat a guy better than average the way he did on Saturday night. That's no way.
Now, to your point, Sullivan Barrera, Yuniski, Gonzalez, and Dorticos were all guys that traveled the national team but was never on the Cuban Olympic team because they didn't have the style. They did not have. As a matter of fact, Dorticos got beat each time by the same guy because they, like you said, so they're right. They don't display that extensive pedigree that we are used to seeing from most Cubans, but they do advance when they're in there with someone that's not as that is less technically sound than them. But to his credit, I think going back to Florida, being with the guys that he was on the amateur team with, getting with Derek Santos, I think that kind of helped him mentally also as well. Yeah.
All right. And like I was saying, this was one of the fights that looks like that was part of the tournament that's going to be determined another mandatory challenge for Adonis Stevenson or whoever's the winner of him and Elida Alvarez coming up whenever they announce that one. We had another fight that we're not necessarily going to go into reviewing, but Marcus Brown versus Sean Minahan was also part of that tournament yesterday. Marcus Brown, of course, won, and Alexander Gavadzik will be facing Craig Baker on ESPN in one of their upcoming cards in another fight to determine, part of that process. I actually expect to see Brown taking on Barrera, and actually if Gavadzik win, I expect him to get a bye into whatever final they have since he has a higher ranking over both of those people. That's just my expectation. So don't be surprised if you see Sullivan Barrera versus Marcus Brown next. You know what I'm saying? If they can work that out. Main events hasn't necessarily been able to work. Well, I guess you can say they have, but there was that one time those few times where they haven't been able to come together. But yeah, that's what I expect to happen as far as the light heavyweight division in the WBC. With that said, we'll go ahead and go into our next topic. Another title defense yesterday, which was on part of the HBO card. We had Jezreel Corrales defending his WBA belt against Robertson Castellanos at junior lightweight, I believe.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah.
Sir.
All right.
130.
Yeah. All right. So let me go ahead and I know 2K has a lot to say about this one as far as breaking it down technically, and especially with Golden Lord Jezreel Corrales.
I am Meteor Man.
Oh man, y'all are wild. Y'all are wrong for that. Y'all are so motherfucking wrong. Y'all are wrong.
Yo, you know what, Bo? Maybe you could speak on this, man. You know, you yourself are a black, or at least a half black Latino. What the fuck is wrong with y'all niggas in this golden hair shit, nigga? First it was Ramses Bartelli.
The colors, man.
Now it's Jezreel Corrales.
These colors is ridiculous. I mean, they making the Latinos look pretty bad, man. What's going on?
Hey man, I'm like you said, half Latino. Like you said, bro, half Latino.
That shit is crazy, man. Man, look here,
crazy.
Bro. Yeah. I don't understand that shit, man. Them niggas need to stop doing that shit, bro. And each time they do that shit, they end up looking bad in the fucking fight that they go in. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Man,
that's true.
Jezreel, this is a perfect example of looks can be deceiving. You have to learn, just when somebody says something to you, right? And it may have a double meaning, right? It may be an undertone. Let's put it that way. Sounds good on the outside, but when you really think about it, it's actually something negative, right? Same thing when you look at Jezreel Corrales. Of course, I'm talking about a visual in this example. He looks slick. You know, you're like, damn, look, his hands are fast. Look how that nigga moves, yo. Look how he dips. You know, as the opponent throws a punch, look how he ducks behind that shit, comes back up, maybe with a straight left hand. Shit look nice as fuck. Nigga got the little that noise and shit every time he moves and shit. Nigga fast as fuck. Yeah. But then when you really look at him, when you really assess his style, one of the major issues that Jezreel Corrales has is he has that Adrian Broner wide ass stance.
Oh,
and
you dirty motherfucker. You took my fucking.
I actually wanted to add. I was going to actually ask 2K about that too. We talked about it a little bit before the show, so I'll let him go into it. Roy Jones Jr. Like it to be being called a slugger stance. For power. So let me go ahead and try and throw that into your assessment as well, if you can, man.
Well, a slugger stance for power, that's not the right stance for him because he's 22-1 with 8 KOs. You know what I'm saying? The nigga has a 33% KO rate. So at a certain point in a boxer's career, preferably before you become professional, you need to understand your limits. You are not a power puncher. You may never, ever be a power puncher unless you decide to train a certain way. Jezreel Corrales is not a power puncher, so therefore Roy Jones's statement about a power stance, whether it may be true or not, Roy should have followed up on that and said, hey, but that's not the right stance for this type of fighter. And it's not, simply because him doing that wide stance, he wants to try to get away from shots. He's a slick fighter, right? So when a fighter's throwing punches at him and he tries to get away, well, then he has to close the distance between his right foot and his left foot before he can actually move. And in doing so, his stance is so wide that he can't do it in a timely, effective manner, so he gets hit by his punch or the opponent's punch. Also, he keeps his hands low at the same time he's trying to elude a shot with his footwork. So he constantly gets hit because of his wide stance. If he had more of a not so wide of a stance, he wouldn't be caught off balance, which is how he got knocked down in this. One of the ways he got knocked down in this fight, anyway. I think he was trying to move to his left. Castellanos hit him to the body, and he got caught off balance. It wasn't even the punch. It was just his stance that fucked him up because he was trying to move quickly to his right. He was trying to move quickly to his right, but his stance wouldn't allow him, so he got caught off balance by the punch, and both his gloves touched the canvas. And it was ruled as a knockdown. Stupid shit like that, you know? The way that he tries to fight, he's got to bring his feet in a lot closer than what he does. Also, dude, man, you got to stop being so wild with your fucking hooks. If you're going to jab a nigga up, jab him up. But if you follow with a wide-ass hook to the point where it makes you turn around, you know what I'm saying, or makes you fall forward, nigga, maybe you need to better assess or better judge how you throw that fucking hook at that opponent. You know what I'm saying? So while he looks on the outside to be an excellent slick fighter, at least he could be an excellent slick fighter, his footwork literally destroys his ability to beat fighters that he could easily make. He could make a fight an easy fight. It could be a 118, 112. 116, 112, 118, 110, 120, 108 type of fight. But instead it ends up being a fucking split decision, you know what I'm saying, or a majority decision for him because he allows himself to get hit because he's so much in the pocket. Also, I forgot to mention this. While he's in that wide stance, at times, if he's not trying to elude his opponent, he'll stand there kind of like Anselmo Moreno. He'll stand there in a wide stance and try to move his upper body with his hands low. And he's getting tagged and shit. But then he'll try to come back after getting tagged, but then he ends up being in a fucking slugfest in the middle of the ring, which is not his fight. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things, and it all stems from his movement. His movement, his how he keeps his hands low. It all stems from those two things. The flaws that Jezreel Corrales has that might otherwise get him beat by other fighters in a dominating fashion. Whereas if you're looking at his style, it's like, man, he could have really been somebody to give that fighter trouble, but those flaws allowed him to get beat in dominating fashion. Now, with that said, I do think him and the guy that we're going to talk about in the next topic, I think these two guys will give a guy like Tank Davis a little bit of problems. But Jezreel Corrales cannot, I repeat, he could not be stagnant in a wide stance and get put into a slugfest against a guy like Tank Davis. He would need to use 100% of his slickness and his boxing ability from the outside, and also use your unorthodox southpaw stance, right? Your style. Use that against Gervonta Tank Davis. He could actually beat Gervonta Tank Davis if he does not fucking stay in the pocket with that wide ass stance. It kills me, man. Kills me every time I see him and he does this shit. It kills me. He could actually be somebody that gives Lomachenko problems, but Lomachenko would dance circles around this nigga, dog, because he's too stagnant.
Yeah, matching movement for movement, exactly. Bo, I know you wanted to, you were probably going to use the Adrian Broner analogy as well that 2K went into. But yeah, you got to come up with something else for your analogy. So,
well, here's the thing. Let me say this about Castellanos. This is a guy who, this is why I say when we talk about analyzing the fighter, this is a guy in Castellanos you got to analyze. Look at this man's record. He beats guys that he shouldn't beat, and he loses to guys that he should beat. That tells me this is a guy who takes fights on short notice. When he has time to prepare for you, he'll give you something that you want. You know, he beat Caballero, he beat Rocky Juarez, he beat somebody else, I can't remember.
Ronnie Rios.
Who?
Ronnie Rios.
Yeah, Ronnie Rios, but I mean, he just recently upset somebody else in the fight he showed.
Gamboa.
Oh, yeah,
Gamboa.
I cannot remember the name of the guy that he beat. Trifling ass Negroes, I swear, boy. But no. So he came and, like 2K said, Corrales. See, the thing about Corrales and 2K said it, he was trying to fight. He thought, I don't know if he thought he could outgun this guy. I don't know what he thought, but he went in here with the exact wrong approach. Now, he did knock down Castellanos, but Castellanos made the crucial mistake of, what do we say? When you're fighting, don't keep your hand very in front of your own face, because if a fighter hits your hand, it's going to do what? It's going to hit you in your face. And that was more of a punch of him being caught off balance. The one thing that I didn't like was for the doctor to stop the fight the way he stopped the fight. He did not ask him, could he continue? He did not ask him, was it blurring his vision? He didn't ask him anything. He just looked at it and stopped the fight. And I'm thinking, damn, you ain't going, it's what? We had, 1 or 2 more rounds left. Let the man go out there and let's see what he got. He's at least earned that right. He hasn't shown us that, it didn't swell up. It wasn't burning his vision. He might have went out there and turned it on thinking, okay, they're going to cost me this fight. They didn't do any of that for him. So I thought that was kind of wrong. I didn't agree with one of the scorecards of, 96-92.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, I'm like, it was way closer than that. So I do hope they. I mean, Jezreel Corrales. I look at him. It kind of makes us wonder then what exactly did Ushinama have left in him, because this is a guy that knocked him out once, then went the distance with him the second time. But this is definitely Jezreel Corrales is definitely, if he keeps fighting like this, especially what we saw against Castellanos, because like you said, Lomachenko will dance circles around him. If he tries to just do that wide stance and go slugging with Tank Davis, where Tank Davis got more guns than him, I think Tank Davis can outgun him, so he's not going to want to do that. So, I mean, that performance he needed a better performance than that against that guy, but at the end of the day, I did not like how they ended that fight like that for him with a guy like Castellanos, because the cut was underneath the eye on the cheek. Okay, we've seen that before, and they asked this man nothing. They didn't ask him, you want to continue, how you feel. He didn't even give him the eye test where he put his fingers in front of him, how many fingers. He did none of that shit. He just ended the fight. That pissed me off when I saw that, because these guys go through too fucking much to get an opportunity. And once it closed, because I guarantee you there's probably some people who started to fight with Castellanos and it's like, if I don't have to fight this dude, I'm not going to fight him because he could wind up beating my guy. And that's exactly what some people might take from that. So 2K said it best, man. Look, Corrales is going to have to do something. And the first thing he needs to do is go get his natural fucking hair back. That's the first goddamn thing he needs to fucking do.
Bro.
Get that back, then talk to me.
Was that a perm? Did he have a little bit of perm in there, too?
It looked like it, dog. It looked like it.
That our little Afro blowout kid, I don't know what I was talking about.
I'm sorry, fam. There's no way these two niggas, Jezreel Corrales and Rances Barthélemy, was getting pussy with that kind of haircut, fam. You would have to show me proof. Somebody go get some pictures.
Rance is married.
All right, that's what's up. And maybe his wife didn't give him no ass then for at least however long he kept that haircut.
But yeah, man, you can't that was it was a good competitive fight, but it shouldn't have been as competitive because of the things Corrales was doing. He just was, like I said, I don't know. I would like 2K. I don't know if he thought he could outgun this guy with 8 fucking. I don't know what the fuck he thought, but he definitely.
We end up saying this with every fight with Robertson Castellanos. Like that's just him. He comes to fight everybody, man. He makes everybody a difficult fight. Even the fights he gets knocked out in. Escandón, he was actually ahead on the cards and that knocked Escandón down and was winning that fight, until he got knocked out. So, he gives everybody trouble. He gets in there with, you got to look at him. He's similar to Solito. These guys start fighting young, learn on the job, and when they actually, they actually develop, and turn into a little something, don't let the records fool you, I said it for a lot of fights, even Escandón, going back to Escandón. He could fight his ass off, Castellanos. We've seen him beat guys that he's not expected to beat, and that's just because he's just a tough fighter for anybody. So, I'm expecting to see a rematch with this one, especially with the way it ended. What do you think about the scoring as well? That's what I think. The stoppage and the scoring. Let me get your thoughts on that as well, 2K.
Yeah, I thought the scoring was terrible. Just one judge anyway. One judge had it 94-94 draw. The other one had it 94-93 for Corrales. And then the other judge had it 93 or 92-96 for Corrales. That judge right there, and I'm in agreement with Bo, that shit was terrible. That was terrible judging right there. But as far as where the fight, who the fight went to, and the stoppage. I agree with. I don't have a problem with either fighter getting the win. If it went to Robinson Castellanos, I probably would have been like, damn, I don't know about that. But it would have been okay because he did knock Jezreel down twice. And it was, like I said, the way Jezreel fights, I could see judges making that shit, their scorecards very close. Rounds that I may have given to Jezreel, they probably gave to Robinson. So I would support it, but I'll be like, I don't know. But I like how Jezreel got the win. But the stoppage, they should have definitely... they should have did more, like Bo said. They should have actually tried to, maybe see if the corner can do something with that cut. See if it's blurring his vision. If he's having any trouble, talk to him a little bit, not just jump straight to the stoppage and trying to get the technical decision out there. I mean they should have just let him go on. It was a title fight. They only had 2 rounds left any fucking way. Let it go.
Yeah. Would you guys be interested in seeing a rematch of this one?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I definitely think it's deserving going considering the way it was stopped. It was a real competitive fight, with knockdowns and, wild hairstyles and everything. So we had a little bit of everything in this fight. Cuts, blood, But with that said, we're going to go into the other junior lightweight title review our title match from last night. It was Miguel Berchelt defending his WBC 130 belt against Takashi Miura, which I'm guessing the fight with Corrales and Castellanos could have been some kind of setup for those two, depending on what happens with a rematch with Castellanos. They're all in house with a Golden Boy stable, so we might see a unification. With that said, we have Berchelt winning by unanimous decision over Takashi Miura. TK, let's get a breakdown of that one, man.
And 119, 108, Miguel Berchelt gave Miura 1 round. You know what I'm saying? And that was towards the end of the fight where Miura was like, Berchelt was like, I want this shit, nigga, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I think the 3rd round was probably Miura's best round, but I still gave it to Berchelt. A couple of other commentators gave it to Miura, but I still gave it to Berchelt. So this fight, Miura, I'm going to say this, man. Miura is a boxer's dream. We're all men here, you know what I'm saying? So when we see that perfect woman, she got big old titties, big old ass, beautiful face, we're like, God damn, man, that's perfect. Right? Well, that's what Miguel Berchelt was doing when he was consistently landing straight right hands on the no head movement, no footwork, stagnant Takashi Miura. Easy work. Easy work. And the funny thing is, Miguel Berchelt's movement is not A+ quality in my opinion. I'd say it's like B to B-. And the reason why I say that is because he only moves side to side. You know what I'm saying? And it's not fluid. It's not fluid movement like you would see a Guillermo Rigondeaux or a Erislandy Lauda or hell, even a fucking Miguel Vasquez fluid side-to-side movement. It's kind of just stepping to the side, like dragging his feet to the. I'm not explaining it. He's bouncing, but he's stepping to the side. I mean, a guy like Vasily Lomachenko would catch him. A guy who can cut off the ring like Gervonta Tank Davis could catch him. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I will say in his movement, he does a good job when he throws his punches. He doesn't just stay right in front of Takashi Miura. He throws a punch or he throws a combination, and then he turns Miura. So he doesn't allow Miura to get into an, or he doesn't allow himself to get into an exchange. Right. He doesn't allow. Exactly. He doesn't allow himself to get in an exchange with Miura. Right. That's a good analogy with Gilberto Ramirez. So with him not allowing himself to get in exchanges, that's what was killing Takashi Miura. I mean, you got a guy who's just coming forward. Like I said, no head movement, just plodding forward, no legs whatsoever. I mean, his head was an easy fucking target for any punch he wanted to throw. And I'm looking at Miguel Berchelt and how he throws punches. He never brings his hands back, ever. You know what I'm saying? If his hand is already there, let's say he's leading with a straight right hand, he'll have his left hand there. But when he leads with that straight right hand, he may bring it down to maybe his chest. but he never brings it all the way up to his chin to guard possibly a counter punch. You know what I'm saying? Also, when he's throwing combinations and he's looking for another opening, he keeps his hands out in front of him because he's looking for another opening, and it doesn't take him long to extend with another straight punch. Dude, a guy like Tank would counter the fuck out of Miguel Berchelt if he were to catch him up against the ropes or maybe in a corner by cutting off the ring. He would counter the fuck out of Berchelt. But one thing I will say is this: the type of boxing that Berchelt did against Miura is exactly the kind of boxing that I expected, even though I had Tank beating Jose Pedraza, right? But I expected Pedraza to go in the ring and box Tank the way Berchelt boxed Miura. That's how you actually beat Tank. You keep the jab in his face and you stay at a distance and you keep it fucking moving. That's how you can beat a Tank, a guy who doesn't have very long reach. He also plods forward, doesn't have very good head movement, and he's looking for the counter. Stay on the outside and jab him to death. That's how you beat him. Make him be the aggressor where he's moving inside in the danger zone. You see what I'm saying? So actually, it was a great performance for Berchelt. Easy work, like I said, a boxer's dream. Miura was, but I'm not very impressed. And I might get a lot of people who's listening that might disagree with me, but I wasn't impressed when I stack him up against the other top-name fighters in the division. But I will congratulate him. Excellent fucking win. I'm kind of equating him to the Julius Ndongo of the 130-pound division because he came out of nowhere. Not really too many big names on his resume, and he beat two top-level guys back-to-back in Francisco Vargas and Takashi Miura. So I mean, and now he's a big name in the division, whereas maybe a year or two years ago, we didn't even know who Miguel Berchelt was. He was actually a fucking tune-up for Francisco Vargas before Francisco Vargas gets the rematch with Orlando Salido. So I mean, it's a true a good rags to riches story for him. I congratulate him, but he still needs to work on his ability to defend himself when he keeps his hands straight out there, because there's some guys in that at 130 pounds that can catch this motherfucker if they know how to cut off the ring properly. But excellent win for him.
Yeah, and a lot of people were actually surprised as far as the stylistically how it turned out. A lot of people expected this to be a Fight of the Year candidate. Far from it. Pretty easy, thorough, dominant win for Berchelt. Bo, let me get your thoughts on the fight, man.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was going to be Fight of the Year candidate. Listen, Berchelt did again what I said earlier. When you got one guy who only looking to throw one punch, but you got another guy that has some decent boxing skills, you can look decent against them and you can outbox them. We saw Lucas Matisse do this to Provodnikov. We saw John Molina actually do it to I think he actually did it to Provodnikov as well. Yeah, he did it to Provodnikov as well. So Berchelt knew he had better boxing ability than Takashi Miura. Takashi Miura was only looking to land that left hand. And you know, and the crazy part was he was having some success doing it. He was hitting him in the stomach and everything like that. But Berchelt, and I told people, I said, listen, Berchelt can outgun this guy because even though he wasn't knocking him out, he still was hitting him with stuff that was taking some mustard off the punches because the left hand wasn't affecting him in the 9th and 10th round as it was in the 2nd and 3rd round. So Berchelt was able to outbox him. He gave him some angle. He gave him some moves. And it's funny because, like 2K said, Marta couldn't get out of the way of the straight right. And props to Berchelt. He knew to keep his foot on the outside to move out of the way. You know, he was hitting him with the jab, which was crazy because I'm watching this. My grandmama could have dodged some of them jabs Berchelt was throwing. I'm like, my grandmama could dodge that jab, but he was getting hit with the jab because Marta has no head movement. So very good win for him. Very good win for him. He came out of nowhere. I thought this was going to be Fight of the Year, but it showed us that he knew, listen, my best chance of winning this fight is not to try and go in here and outgun this dude because he realized how tough this dude was. Instead, you know, he showed us a little bit of ring intelligence. He just did it methodically over the course of a 12-round fight. So good win for him coming out of nowhere. Like 2K said, he would give a couple guys some problems at the division. You know, Loman, He's another one I think Lomachenko will have a nice little time with because he's just too slow to probably land something significant in Lomachenko, but he's a guy who's not afraid to fight him either. We heard him say that. And I don't think that should be his next fight. Listen, he had a tough fight in Vargas. He had somewhat of a tough fight in Mortar. I think they should pull off the gas a little bit for him because we saw that's what happened to Francisco Vargas. He had 3 wars in a row and finally came up short. So if I'm Berchelt people, I'm like, yeah, I hear y'all mentioning Lomachenko, but we're going to take, a nice little cruise it fight and put it in cruise control for a minute. And, he's definitely earned that. So, good fight. Guy came out of nowhere. And that's the thing we tell people about boxing. Just because you don't know who a guy is, doesn't mean he's a nobody. He can't show you something. He got skills. Because I remember when Rocky Martinez was set to fight Berchelt, he had rather faced Orlando Salido before fighting Berchelt because he is that dude. And again, this is a situation where you got one guy that's just looking to land a punch versus a guy that has good enough boxing skills to offset it. And has some dog in him because there were times Berchelt, when he would get hit, this very smart thing he did is like what Barrera did. He get hit, he get hurt, but he comes back at you on the attack. And sometimes when you come on the attack and a guy hits you with a hard punch, and you come in the attack and make that guy hesitant. Like, damn, I just hit him with a hard shot, and he's jumping on me. But you have to do that too because you jump on them so they don't keep attacking you. But sometimes you got to attack back. So he showed good ring intelligence and ring smarts there. But I mean, I would like to see Berchelt again. I think Takashi Miura might want to consider. He's been in too many wars and too much punishment. I hate to see this guy get hurt. Even though he's tough as nails, but a guy taking that kind of punch those many fights, he might want to pump his brakes too also.
All right. And I guess as you mentioned, you think Berchelt should take a break as far as who he's taking on, something that's
most definitely
easy. I kind of see him and Corrales being a target fight if they don't do a rematch with him and Castellanos. So I actually see that one happening. That's unification bout between.
But you know what I hate, Twan? I'm gonna point this out. You have motherfuckers. See, this is what I hate, and I'm not mad at them for bringing up Lomachenko's name. But you got motherfuckers that will push a guy like Berchelt into all these fights. But you get guys that they like, they don't want to push them into them kind of fights. Back to back to back to back to back. And I hate shit like that. I really fucking do.
Yeah, and I think, Berchelt did him a favor in this one, not making it turn into a war like we've seen with a lot of mirror fights in the past. He didn't have to go that route in this one, so he saved himself, unlike Vargas, who we've seen those kind of fights take a toll on him. So, he may be ready to go on to another big one after this because it wasn't necessarily a fight where, it wasn't the fight of the year candidate that I was expecting, heading into it. So, I was expecting a lot more fireworks in the fight personally. But, I mean, it was a solid win for him against a rugged veteran that's champion, probably a little bit past on the downside, you know what I'm saying? But that's how we're gonna go ahead and go into our next topic. Well, actually, I want to see you guys just before you go in that out of the other 130 champs, and I think 2K kind of alluded to this already. Who do you think does match up with Lomachenko the best out of the rest of the 130 champs right now? Between Berchelt, Corrales, and Tank. Go ahead, starting with 2K.
Probably Tank, man. I would say Corrales if he didn't have that wide ass stance. If he didn't have that, Corrales most definitely. But I think, like I said, Vasil would dance all over that nigga. Berchelt, I like Berchelt's movement, but I think Vasil Lomachenko will be able to catch him. First of all, Vasil will be able to cut the ring off. And this is, I know it sounds weird. First thing you say is like, Vasil cut the ring off. Who the fuck has he done that to? Vasil could cut the ring off without even trying to do the shit just because his movement is so dynamic. You know what I'm saying? A fighter will find himself stagnating his own movement in order to find Vasil Lomachenko. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of what happened with Jason Sosa a little bit. Jason Sosa is not a big fucking mover, but he's an aggressor. He had to stop his aggression because he couldn't find Vasil Lomachenko. You see what I'm saying? So I could see Miguel Berchelt slowing himself down in order to find the faster, more slick Vasyl Lomachenko. And in that instant, it's almost like getting the ring cut off on him because his movement is stagnated. So I think Tank would have the better chance because Tank would be the more, how do I put it, the calmer fighter, and he'd be looking for the counterpunch. Now, I think a guy that beats Vasyl Lomachenko is a guy that can move with him, so I'm not saying Gervonta can beat him, but the counterpunching and his ability to be calm in his offensive attack before he actually – his ability to think before he works, I think will give Vasyl a little bit of trouble. But, again, as I said before, Vasyl is the best 130-pound fighter, and he continues to be even with these fighters turning up and making the division hotter than what it already was.
All right, Bo, let me get your thoughts on who you think is the best as far as out of the titles. Who's the best challenger for Vasyl?
Yeah, I'd have to go with Tank. Tank would probably be the best challenger. Tank has good speed. He has good power. He has decent movement. I don't think he has Vasyl Lomachenko movement, but I think he has decent movement. I think Vasyl Lomachenko, and he's athletic too. Tank is very athletic, just like Vasyl Lomachenko. Berchelt is just like I said. Berchelt, Vasyl Lomachenko can see them punches coming a mile away. So Berchelt would be, he'd probably be kind of gun shy going up against Vasyl after he missed so many punches. Jezreel Corrales, because of their stance and because of his performance, I can't not too much confidence in him. So the only guy that I could see probably getting to him is Gervonta Davis, only because Gervonta is athletic. Gervonta does have some power, and his skill set level is better than the other two guys.
Okay. Do you guys think Gervonta is a little bit too one-handed right now for Lomachenko? Chingo? Did I call him Lomachenko?
Yeah. I mean, that's a very good point. He is, but, I mean, if we're looking at the landscape at 130, I mean, this is why I said Vasyl is by far the best fighter at 130. By far. Yeah. I mean, it's but if you're looking at the landscape, he still remains to be the best matchup for him.
Yeah, okay.
As a matter of fact, I think, isn't Corrales the lineal?
No. They don't have a lineal.
I thought Corrales was... Okay.
No, they don't have a lineal.
Because I thought Umagashi was the lineal when he beat him. Uchiyama? I thought Uchiyama was the lineal when he beat him.
Nah, they had the lineal championship vacant right now.
Okay.
Good point brought up right there. With that said, let's go into our next topic, man. I thought we'd be able to put this shit to rest already, but it's still appearing. As long as these retirement talks quail over and there's no validity to it, or as far as a final answer, I guess we'll have to mention it. But it's looking like Pacquiao is leaning towards continuing fighting, which means he's leaning towards the rematch with Jeff Horn. Sometime in it's looking like November is the target date they're looking for already. Still no confirmation, but Manny said he is going to continue to fight. So, I mean, let me get you guys' thoughts on that. I mean, it was definitely a fight that a lot of people thought Manny won. So for the sake of winning the title again, do you think he should take this rematch just for that, or even continue fighting, period? Let me get you guys' thoughts on this latest news about Manny. I'll start off with Bo on this one.
Oh, man. Oh, where do we start, man? You know what, man, I'll be honest with you. Right about now, I'm not surprised at what we hear. If Manny Pacquiao keeps fighting, I'm not surprised. If he keeps fighting with Bob Arum, I'm not surprised, man. Bob Arum is showing time and time again. Like, you know, it's funny because people will believe certain things that Bob Arum say, and we know he's a fucking proven goddamn scumbag. Okay? We know this shit, all right? But Manny Pacquiao wants to keep fighting. The problem with fighters like Manny, and even like with Floyd, the problem with fighters is stepping out of that limelight for them is hard. Sometimes it don't even be about money. They're stepping away from that limelight is hard. Like when they're not fighting and they're retired, they have nothing to do. So they're at home, and the shit drives them fucking crazy because, you know, they don't have a reason to go to the gym. They don't have a fight coming up. They don't have training camp. They probably actually got to stay at home with their family, and the shit drives them up a fucking wall sometimes, man. So, they got to have something to do in fighting, is all that these guys know. Him rematching Jeff Horn, unless Manny can go back to being the Manny who we remember, then maybe we'll get a different outcome where the fight will be a total blowout. But if it's another one of them close fights or Manny don't look as good, then he should definitely consider retiring. Because if you struggle against a guy like Jeff Horn, then again, I'm looking at the landscape at 147. If Manny struggles against, let's say Manny just squeaks out a victory over Jeff Horn in a rematch, oh man, they're gonna be on him like food for real. They're gonna be on him like food for real. They're gonna be pressing the gas to fight motherfucking Manny Pacquiao. So, I mean, like I said, more power to him to fight again. I don't know why a guy like Manny Pacquiao is still putting himself through these long training camps, getting in there, trying to get in there. He has nothing to prove. He's a future Hall of Famer. But like I said, these fighters, when it's hard for them to step away from their sport because they have nothing to do, and that shit drives that competitiveness in them, which has not died yet, drives them motherfuckers crazy.
I mean, if you look at it, you got to look at it like this, man. Everybody, I hate to bring this up right now, you know what I'm saying, but for the most part, you can see it even with the last week of press conferences. Now, Mayweather's been able to boost this hate shit into fucking 9-digit fucking fight payments in two of his most recent fights, against Manny Pacquiao, and now this even this exhibition shit he got coming up. With that said, Manny was the popular guy, you know what I'm saying? Why has he not been able to put himself in the same kind of position where he can make these kind of financial things and doing the same thing Mayweather is doing essentially?
Do you really need an answer to that?
Do you think he should have taken over his career a long time ago, honestly, and is it too late? Is that what we're... I mean, what are we seeing here, man? Are we seeing the extension? Are we seeing the extension beyond? Are we seeing the extension beyond Horn, or what, man? Let me get you guys' thoughts on it.
I tell you what. This is what I'm gonna do. This is old school right here. Check 1 2 on the mic. 1 2 3. I pass the mic to my man 2K.
Well, all I'm gonna say is, it's not very often that nigga Twine be asking dumbass questions, but this is a dumbass motherfucking question. Hell yeah, nigga, he should have been took over his fucking career. And the reason why he can't make the same type of financial decisions as Floyd Mayweather is one key thing. You answered it yourself when you asked the question. He hasn't taken over his fucking career yet. That's why. Floyd Mayweather got rid of Bob Arum, giving him a $700K buyout of his contract from Top Rank, and then he kept doing his shit from that point on. So that's how he's able to make the decisions he's made. Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao is still under the slave owner's whip. He's getting his ass whipped by the slave owner constantly, all day long, for all his chips. So that's why he can't make the same fucking decisions. That's why he's not making the type of money Floyd Mayweather is. The only way you can do that is if you're your own boss. You know what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather showed us that, for what? How long? Shit, 10 years? So I mean, that's you pretty much answered your own question. And he'll probably re-sign with Top Rank because that's what he knows. That's all he knows. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the dumbest shit I've ever seen, But guys like Manny Pacquiao and Tim Bradley, they are beholden to Top Rank. The loyalty is at 100%. They're never going to go anywhere as long as they're fighting as professional fighters. They're going to stick with that guy. It is what it is.
Do you guys see this happening with a potential breakout star like a Terrence Crawford? Do you see the same scenario playing out?
Nope.
Almost definitely. No. Terrence Crawford team is too independent for something like that. And I just want to make one correction. His name is not Timothy Bradley. It's Timothy Sadley. He has been relegated to talking nice about a dude that beat his ass. The fuck out of here. I will not be commentating trying to give you nicey points when a motherfucker has whooped my ass. I'm not doing that shit.
I mean, that's just that's the company man shirt that he wears. You know what I'm saying? He wears a blue collar shirt with a Top Rank emblem on his right chest. You know what I'm saying? On the right side of his chest That's what the fuck. That's all that is, bro. He's a company man, you know. Bob Burnham tells him, hey, you better do what the fuck I want you to do, or else, motherfucker. Tim Bradley's like, yes, sir, boss. Yes, sir, I do whatever you wants me to, boss. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we get. I mean, it is what it is. I called this shit out after the second Manny Pacquiao fight. You know what I'm saying? When this motherfucker just decided to try to knock Manny Pacquiao out, then matter of fact, fuck that. I called it out before the second Manny Pacquiao fight. When this motherfucker on fight night after the first fight, he's talking about, yeah, I won 8 rounds to 4. What the fuck y'all niggas talking about? Then he gets a couple death threats from a bunch of pussy-ass Manny Pacquiao fans that really ain't gonna do shit. Then he comes back talking about, well, man, maybe I could have lost the fight. At that point in time, I was like, Tim Bradley is a fucking company, man. I'm done with this nigga. You know what I'm saying? And he's been the same Tim Bradley ever since. So I mean, this is the norm. You know what I'm saying? I'm whenever I see Tim Bradley on a telecast, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be some whack ass shit right here. Tim Bradley on here. Let me turn it. Straight up.
Man, I'm hoping Manny. I don't know if this is even something that's out there for him or if it's option for him, but you know what I'm saying. I would like to see him go ahead and go out in style, take the rematch, win the title, and retire from there, man. I mean, it's definitely a winnable fight in a rematch, but I don't think he needs to sign any kind of extension. And, you know, with the way Aaron works, it's probably a loaded contract, man. So, you know, you can't get this without doing this extra, knowing their past relationship. So, I mean,
think about this, dog. We got articles, this motherfucker coming somehow, him and Freddie Roach have not been paid. What kind of shit is that?
Yep.
Yeah. And he's still considering a rematch. So yeah, not the brightest bulb, as you can see. But he's a giving and charitable man. So I mean, anyways, let's go into our next topic, man. We gonna go into our Brian Viloria. We have some news about the Superfly card that's going on, what I believe, when is it, September 9th? In Cali? Yeah. The triple header. And now it's becoming a 4-card fight with super flyweights with the addition of Brian Viloria. No opponent names yet, but TBA. You know, so you know what that means, to be announced. Anyways, let me get you guys' thoughts. Does this strengthen the card? Adding Viloria. I mean, he's a little bit past it in my opinion, but let me get you guys' thoughts. Does his addition do anything other than add some exposure? Does it do anything extra for the card? Let me just get your thoughts. 2K.
I mean, if he's fighting one of the top tier guys, yeah, but he probably won't be because it's TBA. So it's probably going to be against one of the lower ranked fighters at 115. So, no, Brian Viloria has been out of the talks. I mean, he's not even ranked in the top 10 by the Ring magazine at 115. So he's been out of the talks ever since he lost in a dominating fashion to Roman Gonzalez. So, I mean, he's not really. No, I don't think it strengthens the card. The triple header they got on there with Noye, Carlos Cuadras, and Roman Gonzalez, that's enough right there.
Okay. Bo, any thoughts on his addition to the card as well?
No, actually, dude, I'm glad you went to 2K because I'm sitting there puzzling my brain. Fuck is Brian Viloria? I forgot all about the motherfucker. I'm like, the fuck is Brian? You know what? I'm thinking about Brian Vetta. I'm like, Brian Vetta is on a Superfly card? What the fuck? They fucking it up. And I'm like, and it took 2K when he was talking, said, oh, now I know who this motherfucker is. So no, not necessarily because I'm with 2K. Listen, you got Roman Gonzalez going to fight Rumvasai again. Then you got Carlos Cuadras versus Estrada. Those two fights alone is more than what you need. Then to top it off, you throwing Naoya Inoue debut in there. And then like 2K said, when it's TBA mean it'll be a motherfucker who we don't know either, like Ryan Viloria, like Ryan Viloria. It'll be a motherfucker we don't know either, goddammit. And we'll be like, huh? So, it's probably just to fill up because this on ESP. Is this on HBO?
Yeah, HBO.
Yeah, so it's probably something just to fill up the time slot. That's probably all that is.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Inui's brother on the card with this one, as far as his opponent. Just throwing that out there. But anyways, I guess we'll go ahead and go into our next card. Yeah, I guess I agree with you guys. I don't, depending on the opponent, that's what it, like 2K said. Depending on the opponent, it doesn't really add to the card. If this is against Inui's brother, then yeah, I'm all for the addition. More fireworks for an already solid card, man. I wish I could make it. Yeah, people are going to be in for an exciting card. The super flyweights definitely come to fight. Very competitive matchups, man, and they bring it. So definitely a solid card, and depending on the matchup, man, yeah, it definitely could bring more fireworks. But we'll go into our title previews for the week, starting with baby girl Amanda Serrano taking on a rematch against Edina Kiss for WBO junior featherweight title. 2K, I'll let you handle this one because I know you've. I'm pretty sure you've seen their first match, possibly.
Shit, y'all might have to handle that one. Y'all might have to handle that one because I didn't even. I'm out of the loop on that one. I didn't know Amanda Serrano was fighting.
Yeah, she's fighting
Puerto Rico tournament. Yeah. I'm actually surprising that this is. I'm thinking this is a late substitute. Honestly, if I'm not mistaken.
No, she's not. She's not a late substitute. This is Amanda Serrano.
So this was her original opponent. Though I thought it was a late substitute. All right.
No, it's not the chick. Evans. Is that her name? Evans or Yvonne?
No, Edina Kiss.
Right, Edina Kiss. Right. Yeah. No, she's not a late substitute. She actually fought Amanda Serrano before. I think when it was only her Edina Kiss's 8th fight in Puerto Rico, and Amanda Serrano wound up knocking out in the 4th round. Right. So she had a couple wins. She won like 5 or 6 fights in a row and a few titles. So as part of the promotion, because this fight is being held in San Juan, Puerto Rico casino, as part of their promotion with her and Oquendo, not Fres Oquendo, another Oquendo, fucking 2K. They're bringing her back to help, feature this. So all it really is, it's a fight that they're hoping that Amanda can look good in because this is a chick she knocked out before. But this was her original opponent, though.
Exactly. Yeah, I've seen. I know who Edina Kiss is, and she's somebody that's already been bounced around from featherweight division. So, yeah, it's exactly what Bo said. I didn't know this fight was even taking place, and that's probably why, because of her opponent. So, I mean, it's for the WBO title. Should be an easy-ass win for Amanda Serrano. See, this is why I like Cecilia Brackes, because Brackes don't do shit like this. She's fighting top-tier motherfuckers in her division. You know what I'm saying? And she's constantly defending undisputed status against the very best of her division. She's not doing no promotional fights in Puerto Rico, nothing like that, fighting motherfuckers she's already dusted off easily, and who has not looked good since that easy dust off. She did beat and she did beat Anne-Sophie Mathis once. But Anne-Sophie Mathis ended up being an excellent fighter after losing to Cecilia Brackes, and she was a good fighter before losing to her. So she fought her again and then beat her more easily than she did the first time. So, yeah, this is why I like Cecilia better. A lot of people say, yeah, I got Amanda Serrano pound for pound number 1 for females. Nah, bro. Cecilia, easy work. Cecilia, easy work Brackes. That's her name.
Actually, on my pound for pound list, I got Serrano number 3. I got Brackes number 1. I got Jelena as number 2.
Oh, okay. I got her at number 2.
Serrano at number 3. Okay, yeah.
I got her at number 2.
Yeah,
I got her at number 2.
She's not number 1. She's not number 1. She's captured titles in 5 different weight divisions, but she never held all the motherfucking belts. Like,
well, I can't ignore that she's the first female to win titles in 5 different weight classes in the history of female boxing. So, and also she beat Miguel Cotto's old record for the first Puerto Rican to win titles in 4 different weight classes. So I can't ignore that. But the problem is like I said, Cecilia with her undisputed status, for like shit. I don't know how many years she's been undisputed now, and she continuously fights the very best in the division. She fights the best who come up from lower divisions. You know what I'm saying? And she does it in like a relatively small amount of time in between fights. Like that's easy, number one, man. Easy pick.
All right, but I'm not gonna let them shit on you, baby girl. I'm still thinking about you, okay, Amanda? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let them steal from your joy. Don't let them take your sunshine. You know what I'm saying? But now, despite Edina Kiss's busy record in the past year since their first matchup, I don't expect a different outcome. I'm expecting her to get caught with something and another TKO. I'm gonna call it a love TKO because that's my girl right there. Y'all can go ahead and have brackets. You know what I'm saying? She is pound for pound number one though, so I agree with y'all on that.
Fuck out of here. Oh, I thought you said Serrano was. Boy, we about to argue.
Nah, man. I said I would agree with y'all on that, man. I'm not gonna pull my bias out in that.
Well, I'm about to say, you already got, I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, because my block button, my block finger is ready to pull the trigger. Bang, 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 bang. All right, we're going to go to our next title preview for the weekend. We got Ryoichi Taguchi taking on Robert Barrera, his mandatory challenger, defending his WBA Junior flyweight title. Taguchi's a guy who's only lost to Naoya Inoue previously, so that shows you. This was in Inoue's third fight, I believe, when they fought previously. They actually fought twice, but he lost to him in his third fight. With that said, it shows, he's came back and still won the title, so he's still a good fighter. 2K, let me get your breakdown of this one, or your assessment of Taguchi versus Barrera's mandatory title challenger.
It's gonna be a tough fight, man. Taguchi's always been a decent fighter out of Japan, man. He's not. Inoue is just fucking good. You know what I'm saying? Before losing to Inoue, he had only lost one other fight in Japan, which was an 8-rounder. And he had like a draw or something like that. I think he had a draw before the Inoue fight as well. But, Inoue is just that good of a fighter. Taguchi's always been a good fighter that could be seen as a possible world champion. Robert Barrera, though, man, he's hungry as fuck, man. Dude out of Colombia. As with most Colombians, I won't say all, most Colombians, he's got power in both hands. It could be a situation where Taguchi gets caught. It's never been stopped. He didn't even get stopped with Naoya, but there's always a chance that he can get caught, you know what I'm saying, and he can end up losing his belt. Now, when he fought Naoya, that wasn't one of the more dominant wins for Naoya Inoue. Now, that was only his fourth professional fight, you know what I'm saying? But still, he kind of gave Inoue a little bit of trouble. So I can see him getting past Robert Barrera, but if he fucks around and stays stagnant, pretty much gets caught up in exchanges, which he does do at times, he might get fucking caught by that Colombian right hook that Barrera has. He could possibly go 9-9. But I have Taguchi going ahead and defending his title. And it'll be interesting where he goes from here at 108 pounds after this fight. But he did have a draw in his last fight against Carlos Canizales. So we'll see, man. It's a good matchup for him. I think he takes the win.
All right, Bo, you got a prediction for this one, man?
Listen, Robert Barrera, he is coming on strong. Guy has a 63% knockout ratio, which is pretty high when you consider that division he's in. Taguchi only has a 38%, but I think Taguchi just has this guy has fought 195 professional rounds to Barrera's 90 rounds. So experience can definitely come into play. The age is only a 2-year age difference, so it's not like Barrera is going to be extremely younger than him. So although, like, I'm with 2K, Barrera is possibly going to bring that heat and bring something. But, Taguchi, he, like you said, his only 2 losses come to, one, of course, is, Naoya, and then the other one, of course, is Tanaka. So, after that, he's pretty much been able to UD and TKO guys. So he should be able to come out with the victory. And I just want to point something out. We will talk about the lower weight division. Everybody else don't. But after, like, I could see Barrera losing to Taguchi and still going on to have somewhat of a decent career. And maybe they may even meet again later on. So I like Taguchi in this fight, too.
Yeah, I'm going to go with make it a unanimous decision or a consensus selection. I got Taguchi winning this one. Like you say, Barrera has that power, Colombian power. He's awkward, you know what I'm saying? So those kind of herky-jerky guys always have some kind of odd chance, kind of like Brandon Prescott did, in certain fights. Another Colombian fighter. But he's fought the majority of his opponents in Colombia, so I'm not sure as far as competition wise. He hasn't faced the caliber of a Nui, the way Taguchi has. So I think that's going to also play a factor in this fight, and the reason why Taguchi should be able to pull it off, man. I'm gonna pick for my partner Bernard. I'm going for the fuckery pick. Bernard will pick Robert Barrera because he likes picking the fuckery pick. No analysis needed, or no analysis necessary.
Needed, right.
All right, man. I guess I got since Bernard can't be on the show this week. I actually decided to do this earlier after seeing the post, man, and I was like, yeah, I got it. You know what I'm saying? I go ahead and take it for this week for you, Bernard, since you can't be on. So I'm going to handle the Fuckery of Boxing Award for this week.
Yo, we're not going to talk about Omar Figueroa and Robert Guerrero?
Man, nah, you already know how I felt about that fight. You know what I'm saying? When we talked about it on your damn show. It's nothing for the 147-pound division. Neither of those guys are. It doesn't throw them in the midst. You know what I'm saying? Both of those guys are I won't even say at a crossroads. I've never seen Figueroa as having any kind of shot at 147. He needs to be at 140, which he's actually going down to. So
you're not going to break down Marcus Brown and Sean Monahan?
Nah, but that's actually what I'm going to go into now, man.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Anyways, man, so for the Fuckery of the Boxing Award of the week, it goes to none other than Rick Glaser. This guy does nothing but spew out a bunch of controversial shit and gets people all riled up. So, I can't act like I'm surprised by his post. But, for a guy that's been so involved in boxing to say so much shit that's not credible and still get the same kind of persona and glory from people, it fucking sickens me, and that's the problem with boxing media. Which is why we say the mainstream is full of shit, because, this guy has been involved in mainstream boxing circles. It's the underground like us that's keeping it real with you. But anyway, the Fuckery of Boxing Award goes to him. He basically put out a post talking about the Marcus Brown versus Sean Monahan fight last night, and he put out some shit that wasn't factual, saying that for years, Al Heyman and Lou DiBella have been in collusion trying to serve Monahan up to Marcus Brown just to sell some extra tickets because of the fight was in Long Island last night. So let me put this to you, man. I even said it on this post, and he didn't want to comment on it because I served his ass, man. Like I said, we served nothing but L's with the movement, man. And I gave this mainstream punk-ass pundit another one. Anyways, man.
Tell us how you really feel.
Nah, that shit kind of sickens me because this motherfucker gets so much goddamn attention. You know what I'm saying? For putting out shit like this. a bunch of false narratives, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, with that said, Sean Monahan was previously signed to Top Rank until last year when he was on the Terrence Crawford, John Molina undercard in Nebraska. So that's one, you're wrong right there. How can they be in collusion for years trying to do that if he's been with Top Rank? Shit, if anything, Top Rank's been pimping that New York ticket. Because, I've covered a couple of fights out there. Always in New York. He never strayed away from fucking Madison Square Garden. So if anybody was pimping the New York ticket, it was Top Rank. But you don't want to mention that. So this was his first fight under the advisement of Al Heyman. Mind you, let me tell you this as well. Top Rank has yet to put him in step-up fights this whole time. Like, they've been milking this guy. The same shit you guys talk about with Deontay Wilder, having a padded record and not being in with anybody. Top Rank has successfully done this for Sean Monahan. And last night we seen him get his ass kicked when he was put in there against a real title contender, or against a real contender, which he's wanted to step up fight for all this time. So if it took him going to Al Heyman to get that, more power to you, Sean Monahan, because Top Rank ain't done nothing as far as building you up and putting you in there against guys that could actually make you competitive in the division. They done nothing but padded your record and used you to sell tickets in New York these past couple of years.
Well, not to mention the fact, Twan, let's add this in there. Both Brown and Monahan were former sparring partners, and they knew each other in the amateur days.
And mind you, they're both, it's not just Monahan being 20 minutes away from Long Island. Marcus Brown, as both mentioned, they were sparring partners. He's from New York. He's from Staten Island. He's a New York kid. So the fight made sense regardless. Don't try and say just because Joe Smith is also from Long Island. He tried to make it saying that it was Al Heyman's fault that the Joe Smith fight didn't happen. Like, come on now, man. That's just
man?
One.
There was a fucking time where they tried to say Sean Monahan scared Andre Ward out of a 175-pound fight. That's when Andre Ward fought Alexander Brand. These same motherfuckers were out there like, yeah, he fighting Alexander Brand because he didn't want to fight Vyacheslav Shabransky and he didn't want to fight Sean Monahan. Now all of a sudden Sean Monahan is just like a piece of steak being fed to a dog. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah.
Piece of shit motherfuckers, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my Fuckery boxing award for the week. You know what I'm saying? He with the shit he be putting out, he might get it a couple more times. I don't know if Bernard fucking actually has him or if he's friends with Bernard. If Bernard's seeing this shit, he might have been on him already. So I came across this one today and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely finna give you the business today for this shit.
That's right.
We also gonna go into the U.O.E.N.O segment of the week. Actually, a pretty good one since we have a unification bout for the undisputed title coming up next month. So I'm glad we could come across this little tidbit for U.O.E.N.O for the week. 2005 in Las Vegas, Jermain Taylor, he wins by split decision in his first fight against Bernard Hopkins, winning the WBA, WBC, and IBF Middleweight titles, man. Controversial decision, pretty close fight, you know what I'm saying? Hard to dispute that one. Unless you want to say, Taylor did tire out in the final rounds, which made B Hop look like he had the edge in that one. How'd you guys have that one, the first one, scored, man? 2K, Bo? How'd you guys have the first B Hop the fight scored?
I think I had Jermain Taylor winning that fight.
I had Jermain Taylor.
I can't remember
as well.
I can't remember how I scored it, but I had Jermain winning it.
And Bo was like maybe 50 years old, so he definitely knows.
Hello? Let me tell you something, motherfucker. I don't have that Cuban birth certificate. My shit is American, authentic.
You know what?
But you had Taylor winning as well, Bo?
Uh-huh.
You had Taylor winning the fight as well?
Yeah, I had Taylor winning that fight.
Okay.
The close Taylor fight that I didn't have Taylor winning was against Winky Wright. I had Winky Wright winning that motherfucker.
That was a good-ass fight, though. That was a good-ass fight, though, man. Man, Winky was in some good-ass fights at 160, man, against Taylor and Beehive. Those were some good-ass fights.
Hell yeah.
Shit, I don't know who can do a final blow for the week, man. Bernard couldn't be on, and I mean, shit, I just done 2 straight segments, so yeah, let me see if 2K can pop something out there, man.
Y'all niggas, y'all better skip that.
Bo actually did one last week on the fly because we did a solo show, so
go down 2 eggs and holler.
Call them 2.
I don't like final blow segments, man. I think they're worthless. But anyway, I mean, I really ain't got shit for y'all niggas today, man. It's really, I mean, boxing's been kind of quiet for me anyway. I haven't really been on too much of anything. Just been catching the fights here and there. I did a video on legacy, so I guess I'll go into this, and I'm gonna post this later. But one thing that I've come to realize a lot, you know, we talked about it. It's not something that just happened overnight. You know what I'm saying? But I've come to realize that legacy truly is not something that matters anymore in the sport of boxing. I mean, it's something that has become probably like the 3rd and 4th priority to not only the fighter, but the promoter, the managers. I mean, an entire team that comprises a fighter stable it's become like the 3rd or 4th priority. You know what I'm saying? Money, fame, and all that other shit has taken precedence. You know, and there was a time, and I won't go too deep into it. Like I said, I had a video about this already. But there was a time where legacy mattered. You know what I'm saying? It mattered to the point where fighters did not want to tarnish their legacy by fighting certain competition. And that leads us into the creation of the Black Murderers Row at the middleweight division in the 1940s. You know, cats like Eddie Booker and Elmer Ray, Lloyd Marshall, Charlie Burley, etc. Those are usually the 4 guys that I always remember right off top. But the reason why that group was created is because the top fighters at middleweight at that time were not trying to tarnish their fucking legacy. So they were openly ducking these niggas so they wouldn't have to look back and be like, damn, I took an embarrassing loss. People may not remember who I am because I lost to these guys in such a dominating fashion. So the media
is one of them, right?
Gene Tooney, you said?
Yeah, Gene Tooney's one of the guys that avoided him, right? Okay. Exactly. So the media came out and was like, well, shit, you know, these guys are ducked widely by a lot of cats in the division. We'll call them the Black Murderers Row, and we'll just have them fight each other. And they went on to fight each other like 60-plus times, you know what I'm saying? And none of those fights were for titles, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, these guys are sitting there in a infinite tournament, you know what I'm saying, with each other for no title. Think of it as a Super 6 series. Of course, I think the Black Murderers Row had 8 or 10 members. I can't remember right off the top. But just think of it as a tournament, you know, like the World Series tournament that we're having in cruiserweight and at 168, you know, where these guys are just fighting each other 60-plus times. But there's no title shots involved in this tournament. So, I mean, that's the type of shit that things that cats will go through because the more popular fighters were afraid to tarnish their legacy. Today, it's more so they're not afraid to tarnish their legacy for why they won't fight fighters. It's them being afraid of not being able to market themselves so they can get that Floyd Mayweather money later on in their career. So that's why they choose not to fight certain fighters. So legacy itself, I mean, what they don't understand is if you take legacy-defining fights, right, the money will come in the back end. Perfect example, and it's just the first one that comes to my head. Floyd Mayweather, right, he fought legacy-defining fights up until he got the real legacy-defining fight in Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, he fought Genaro Hernandez, Jose Luis Castillo twice, an undefeated pound-for-pound number 5 ranked Diego Corrales. He fought Zab Judah, Sean Bay Mitchell.
What's the African cat's name, man? He had a
Chop Forley.
Lovemore.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Chop Chop, not Lovemore, the other guy, the other African with the power. He had a powerful ass straight right hand. Philip Nadeau fought him.
Philip Nadeau. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got the name wrong.
Yeah. I mean Arturo Gotti. Matter of fact, a lot of niggas thought Arturo Gotti was gonna beat him, man. One person off the top, my ex co-host had Arturo Gotti beating Floyd Mayweather when that fight was announced. You know what I'm saying?
Arturo Gotti was rejuvenated at the time under James McGirt. That's what everybody was thinking.
Exactly. Good point. So, that tells you right there, he fought a lot of career-defining fights before he actually became Floyd Money Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? So, I had another example. I can't fucking remember it now. But anyway, that's just the gist of it, man. Like, people just, legacy today is just, it's going to take the back burner because the Floyd Mayweather blueprint, not Pretty Boy Floyd, but Money Mayweather blueprint that he had laid out after he had did everything he needed to do to become Money Mayweather is the same blueprint that motherfuckers want to follow, omitting the Pretty Boy Floyd blueprint. So, I mean, it sucks. But good news is we got something like PBC and Al Hammond who's putting together a lot of these good fights. He made Danny Garcia fight Keith Thurman, who, of course, Danny Garcia's father, Angel, was saying, hey, we could fight another Rod Selka. Fuck a Keith Thurman. We can get Rod Selka for another $1 You know what I'm saying? He was talking that bullshit. Al Hammond was like, nah, motherfucker. Y'all niggas gonna fight, and y'all gonna fight on network television, not pay-per-view, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So PBC is really putting the fire under niggas' asses right now to where, especially in the welterweight division, to where you gotta take legacy-defining fights in order to get that money on the back end. And my next example, I just remembered it right now. My next example was Daniel Jacobs. I was killing Daniel Jacobs shit for a long time, and y'all all know that. Y'all seen my show.
Goddamn right. I was so excited you called him Daniel Jacobs, dog. That's amazing.
Eugene Rutherford.
That's a major step up. He gave that nigga his fighting name.
I got because eventually he went and took the career-defining fight. He lost, even though I thought he won, but he lost. And guess what happened after he took the career-defining fight that he happened to lose? He's got pictures of him. He's got pictures of him standing in front of his new home, a home he just bought. You see what I'm saying? He got the money even though he lost. And what Twine was getting ready to say, he's got more opportunities for bigger fights now. You see what I'm saying? He's got the Billy Hose on his radar. He's got the Jamal Charlos on his radar. He's talking about 168 possibly. He's got opportunities for bigger fights now because he looks so good against Gennady Golovkin. You see what I'm saying? He could have went in there and did what he did against Dmitry Pirog and got knocked the fuck out in like round 7, and that would have been the end. But that's not what happened. Even though he lost, he still got the money on the back end, and he still got the opportunities on the back end. That's what these dumb motherfuckers don't understand in boxing today. So, with that said, man, it's sad, but, I'm just glad we have entities like PBC to put the fire under these boxers' asses, man. He's telling them, like, yeah, come on over here, I'll manage you. I got a set of promoters that's affiliated with my organization that will promote you. You know what I'm saying? We'll give you this money. Everything looks good, but the catch is you will be fighting the best. And that's what we need in boxing, man.
Let me, I don't know if we should even go into this on the show because we normally do these kind of things on our debate shows and stuff like that you guys do during the week. But, I mean, who do you think is more responsible as far as this legacy or bringing that back into a trend and making it a thing in boxing again? Do you think it's the media? Do you think it's the promoters, fighters? I mean, who do you think holds the biggest responsibility in getting back to that heyday of what boxing was really about and legacy being first and foremost?
The fighters.
Because if you ask.
Go ahead, Bo.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I was just watching something. This can the fuckery of the week too. Bob Arams claimed he gives credit for being the inspiration of bringing free boxing to to TV.
Yeah, he does.
Not PBC.
Yep. Yep. You're right, he does.
Even
right.
after we know there's a video clip of him berating a reporter saying how Al Heyman did a good thing when he did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
no.
yeah, but I think it's a matter of Floyd Mayweather did our retired while they were going. These guys, we were seeing the effects of this year. These guys got to fight each other now because you got to fill that void. So some of it's crazy.
Yeah, I think
in the game. You didn't have Pacquiao in the game for a while.
I think the answer to Twine's question has got to be the fighters first, man. Because one thing, a growing trend that's going on today is like, and I'll put his name out there, Ronnie Austin, the guy that we interviewed on the show. A growing trend is guys they don't pay attention to what's going on in boxing. You know, there'll be an active fighter, but they don't pay attention to what's going on in boxing. Back in the day, the majority of fighters paid attention to what's going on in boxing, and they would actually choose who they wanted to fight. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, oh, I want that motherfucker. Give me that nigga right there. You see what I'm saying? That's how Roberto Duran made his move from 135 to 160. That's how he made his move, because he said, I want to fight these motherfuckers. You see what I'm saying? We don't really have that today. I mean, you've got Vasyl Lomachenko's doing it, but he's not. He's dancing around fights. You see what I'm saying? Andre Ward just did it, but Andre Ward was prompted by HBO to do that. That's why he went to 175. HBO was like, nah, motherfucker, you got to fight our killer. You see what I'm saying? We don't really have motherfuckers in boxing jumping up. I want that nigga right there. I want that motherfucker. Let me go up and fight that motherfucker. That doesn't happen. And not only that, you talk to a motherfucker and they're like, oh, shit, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Shit, nigga, I just boxed, you know what I'm saying, nigga? I don't even know which. Shit, I'm at 147. That's where I'm at. Shit, I didn't even know I was at 147, nigga. Shit, I just fight, nigga, you know what I'm saying? That's what the fuck is going on today. So with that said, they are basically putting all of the managerial responsibilities in their manager, right? Which seems to be the right thing to do, but it's actually not, because if you want your career to be defined a certain way, then you will actually have some type of control over it. Yes, you hire a manager to advise you, to get you, you know, certain fights, to talk with your promoter about getting certain fights, but you also have a say in how your career goes as well. You see what I'm saying? Guys like Sugar Ray Leonard and Floyd Mayweather, they had a say in how their fucking career went. Marvin Hagler, you know, Mike McCallum, all the niggas ducked Mike McCallum, but he still went out and made career-defining fights. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, man. That's the thing. That's what's wrong today. These young fighters, man, they don't give a fuck what their manager and their promoter does. They'll come back to them like, yeah, nigga, you know what I'm saying? We gonna have a nigga named Jack Smith. You know what I'm saying? A nigga like 6 and 77, but we gonna have you fight him. You know what I'm saying? And then they gonna be like, yeah, shit gonna make me look good, dog. That's what I'm talking about, nigga. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, man. I can't stand it, man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
You know what? There's one fighter, but see, there is like two fighters, if I have to pick them, that give me some hope, and that's Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, because they do want
Luis Ortiz too.
Huh?
Luis Ortiz too. All three of them.
Right.
And
Luis Ortiz. Yeah. Right. So you know that, like, you know, those that we look at, and to your point, like you said, you know, you got Lomachenko that's trying to do it. But his team is dilly-dancing, dancing around motherfucking fights because they don't want to cough up no fucking money. And so, but yeah, when I look at Earl, because I remember Earl Spence was telling Keith Thurman, you know, I'll murk you. I remember Terrence Crawford. So Danny Garcia, motherfucker, I'm fighting motherfucker you wouldn't fight in Postal. You and your daddy, nigga. You know, he was saying that shit like, man. So, yeah, it is the fighters. And the fighters, like, say what you want about Adrian Broner, he gets in there with anybody. You put him in there, he get in there with anybody. Sean Porter the same way. And so those are guys that kind of give me hope.
Very good point right there, Bo. And I just want to say, man, to piggyback off of what T-Tay was saying, it's kind of like, you know, that's another thing. I don't know if these guys got that off of Floyd Mayweather, because he's another guy that used to say, you know, I don't watch fight, you know, I don't watch boxing, you know what I'm saying, outside of my fights and stuff like that. So, I mean, they've taken all the wrong things from Floyd Mayweather as opposed to, you know, what you were saying, the pretty boy Floyd that actually went out there and put in that hard work to get to where he is now. You know what I'm saying? So they taking all the bad things. You know, I think there was a time where he was probably heavy on film and a historian of the fight game. You know what I'm saying? The way we see James Toney, you know, a guy like James Toney, you know, guys like that are known for being historians, or Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there was a time when Floyd was like that. You know, maybe possibly it was closer to the Mayweather, Money Mayweather day, not Money Mayweather, but Pretty Boy days. But I mean, they've taken all the wrong things from him, as opposed to the things that got him to that level. So I mean, I don't know. It's just disappointing to see that. And you know, Bo, you know, good point as far as, you know, there are some highlight guys out there that give you a lot of hope, you know, going into the future. You know, that's just one division right there. So, you know, we'll see more to come, man. But anyways, man, I'm going to let everybody give out their handles and everything before we get up off the show. Starting with 2K, man. Where can they find you at?
You can definitely find me on my YouTube channel, Prodigy of Boxing Talk. You can also find me on the Müvment Boxing podcast, of course, here every Sunday at 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern Time. Catch me on the Müvment Boxing Podcast group and Facebook, Eastwick Boxing. A couple other boxing groups out there, Boxing Debate. You catch me on Bo. I ain't been on Bo's show in a minute, but we're going to need to do that eventually. And I still ain't been on Big Cool's show either, but we're going to need to do that shit eventually too. But yeah, you catch me all around. I'm always around Google Plus talking a whole lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get niggas riled up so they can come on the show and get their ass ate up. No homo. You know what I'm saying? Also, fuck Twitter. Word up.
All right, if you go ahead and swing it over the boat, man, where can they find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Truth and Facts About Boxing. You can also catch me on the best probably social media outlet, Twitter, at capital T for Truth capital T for Truth _ capital F for Fact Box 1, and Instagram Truth _ Fact Box 1. You can also, like you said, pound for pound, Ring IQ, Hands of Fire, 2K, Prodigy of Boxing, Eastwick, We Live, East Sleep Boxing, Our Room, The Movement, Talking Boxing and Bullshit. You know, look, man, wherever they talking boxing and don't know what they talking about and L's need to be handed out, man, that's where you can find a member of the movement.
All right. We're going to give a shout-out to our other two other family members or brothers. We got Big Cool. I mean, you can find him on Colossal Boxing Talk on YouTube. His Facebook page also, Colossal Boxing Talk. And shit, I'm assuming that's the same thing for Twitter. I don't like that shit neither. I'm in agreement with 2K on that one. Also, Bernard, man, let me give a shout-out to him. I mean, he's the one that be holding down a lot of the movement social media pages. If you see a lot of the skits and stuff.
That should be funny, dog. That Detective B should be off his jacket.
Yeah, he is holding it down with the social media. So if you go to our Instagram page, you'll be able to catch a lot of Bernard stuff on there, and also in the Facebook groups talking boxing and bullshit. Of course, he has this show with Mellow Casual, Brothers Against the Brothers in Arms Against. I don't know what the hell they call themselves, but I'm gonna start calling them Ebony and Ivory, motherfucker. That's what the hell they really are.
Beavis and Butthead and shit, Two Stupid Dogs.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Really, that is the real one right there. That's the real one for real.
Two Stupid Dogs, man. Oh shit.
Nah, man, but shout out to B. I mean, he'll probably be back on the show next week, man, and Big Cool as well. Of course, I'm Twan the Divine Liberty of FoodJab.com, also known as Dick Diamond. I mean, you can catch me on all of the pages these guys talked about. I'm usually, I do about a show a week with Bo, depending on what he got going on. If he ever had me talking about some goddamn Omar Figueroa, Robert Guerrero again, though, I mean, he TOS on site, man. If he ever have me talk about some goddamn Figueroa and Guerrero again.
But terrible fight.
Yeah, man.
Terrible fight.
Yeah, I'm for that.
That was a terrible fight.
Hey, you know what's messed up is I saw the nigga's face when I mentioned it off camera, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I got it."
Man,
his face off camera was priceless, man. That's all I got to ask.
I kept myself composed enough to answer his question, though. You know what I'm saying? I didn't lose my composure, or nothing. You know what I'm saying? And blow my fuse. I know the way 2K would have without his eggs. You know what I'm saying? 2K would have blew a fuse. I know 2K would have.
Yeah, you know how when you in their calls on Skype, that's why I heard 2K be
Hell yeah. That's crazy.
But nah, man, for the rest of the panel, man, you can catch us every Sunday here on the Müvment Boxing Podcast, and you know everybody's got their own solo joints they be doing. I mean, we all support each other. One thing, that's why we call it the Movement. Come together, giving y'all the real, man. So until next week, we'll catch you. Peace.